I remember it was raining. The sound of rain drumming on the umbrellas. This is where I met. I met him for the first time at... No. Maybe I should start anew. I was a young public prosecutor who had just taken up a post that had become available in a small village. In order to express my condolences, I attended the funeral of my predecessor. Mainly, however, to make the right contacts in my new surroundings. Befitting the occasion, it started to rain. And it was there that I met him for the first time. The judge. You could tell his status immediately. A wealthy gentleman with a powerful aura. Everyone treated him with so much respect and admiration. I was deeply impressed by it. Dazzled by his appearance. I was so stupid. So naive. I was young and full of ideals. My world just seemed to be divided into black and white, right and wrong, good and evil. The boundaries were clearly defined. That was exactly what the judge embodied for me. One day, I received an invitation from him, which I accepted, of course. When I stood in front of his mansion at the time agreed, I was unbearably nervous and proud. He had chosen me. What an honor to be a guest in his house. Everyone who broke the law was afraid of him. Strict but fair, he sentenced all offenders. All? At least, this is what I believed at the time. He was a dazzler, and I was taken in by him. But I'll talk about that later. In order to break the silence, I asked about the portrait on the mantelpiece. It depicted his dead wife. He simply stood there and stared at a chess piece. Suddenly, the atmosphere seemed depressing. Just as I wanted to apologize, he broke the uneasy silence. In the most enthusiastic, almost euphoric manner, he told me about a game of chess which he had started with my predecessor, the former prosecutor, 20 years ago. So they were friends, was my first thought. But then I held my breath while listening to his story. No, rather his confession. And understood what had united him and the former prosecutor beyond their game of chess. This game of chess, it was a very special one. The chess pieces all represented real people that each player could choose for himself. The queen represented the woman closest to the player. For the prosecutor, it was his sister who had taken care of the household after the death of his wife. For the judge, it was his wife. Both players decided that the bishops would represent their friends who were priests or teachers. The knights would represent lawyers or officers, and the rooks stood for industrialists or politicians. The pawns would represent ordinary citizens such as their maid or the milkman. The rule of this chess game was that each player who lost a chess piece had to kill the person it represented. This game had been going on for 20 years. He had fought for every single piece. And it had been a terrifying, yet powerful feeling when you had to sacrifice one of them. game of life and death. Life resembling a notch in a piece of wood. At the end of his confession, I was horrified. He put a chess piece, the queen that had once symbolized his wife, in front of me. I stared at it. He had killed her, sacrificed her, in order to save himself. But although I was shocked, I was also fascinated by the thought that a man of his status was capable of doing something like this. Suddenly, my white turned into black, my good into evil, and I was wondering whether I would also be able to sacrifice somebody's life for a game. But what did he expect from me now? Did he want me to call the police? Or even grant him absolution? I decided to do none of that. Instead, I took the queen and gave her my wife's name. The first draw. A new game. Our game. And in the end, there is nothing left but remorse and a new notch in a piece of wood.